Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the class. Welcome to the session. It's great to have all of you with us in today's live webinar. And I hope most of you have actually taken the mock that we had put out. Excuse me. So this session is about the principles that you need to understand to be able to take a mock and to actually create a strategy. So I'm going to talk largely. I'm not really going to go into a question discussion of the current mock. Of course, you'll have access to the mock that you did today, and you will have access to the queries, to the videos, and the solutions of that mock. But what I want to talk to you about is from the 100 percentiles perspective, two angles. One is two angles from which I want to talk about. One is the first angle I want to talk to you about is the 3 to 4 month mock strategy that you should have, and the feedback you should be able to take. What feedback you try to derive out of the mock, and what action you can take to come back stronger, so to say. So that's one dimension of what I want to talk about. And the second dimension is actually behavior inside the mock, behavioral issues and decision making inside the mock, right? And this we'll look at, of course, section wise, because the mock is effectively when you're looking at when you talk about when you talk about the discussion, or when you talk about the process of solving a mock, there are a lot of aspects of the strategy on a section wise basis. And I'll just check if they're not loaded up the quant studio solution. I think maybe a couple of days we'll get that loaded up for you, the video solution of the quant section. Right? Typically, we have videos solutions of almost all the questions in the test. So, of course, I mean, I hope you understand when we talk about a 3-4 month strategy, mock strategy, that mocks essentially serve two purposes. One purpose that mocks serve is, of course, the performance angle, because if you have ability but you can't perform in the CAT, mocks will help you improve your performance under pressure. Help you improve your performance under pressure. It'll help you think better inside the pressure of the exam. So that's, of course, one dimension of what you learn from the mocks. And the second dimension of what you learn from the mocks, a lot of people underestimate this or don't realize this, that mocks also give you a very strong practice. I mean, of course, mocks give you feedback about your areas of concern. They give you feedbacks about your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you should be doing. So that's the second dimension of what mocks give to you. And the third dimension of what mocks give you is also very strong practice. They give you very strong practice, which I mean, if you have done your basic practice in shape. So this the kind of practice the mocks give you is kind of closure to every area that you're looking at. So, for example, when I talk about mock strategy, we talk about we tell our students and anybody who cares to listen that you have to plan around 40 mocks in your CAT journey, right? And this 40 mocks during the journey, if we talk about the timelines now, you got July, you got August, you got September, you got October, full months. July, of course, you have only half of July, and you've got half of November. So to give you a bird's eye view of your mock strategy, if you're planning to take around 40 mocks, there are two strategies you can actually do. Around 8 mocks in August, 10 mocks in September, 12 mocks in October. So that makes it 30. And we I mean, I always talk about the fact that whatever plans you have to make, you have to make till 15th November, because you can't plan कि 25 नवंबर को कुछ करेंगे और वो CAT में हो जाएगा. So maybe around 5 to 6 mocks in November. So that makes it 30. So you should have taken around 4 mocks by the end of July. If this is plan one. This is plan one, right? For 40 mocks. A second plan for 40 mocks, if you have started a little bit early, if you have started a little bit early, a second plan for 40 mocks could be something like 8, 8, 10, 10, and 4. So 8 by the end of July, 8 by the end of August, 8, 10 by the end of September, 10 by the end of October, and 4 in November. So that could be a second strategy with respect to number of mocks you want to take. And yeah, there's an important question coming up from Dhanisha about how to balance mocks with preparation. I'm just going to come to that. Now there are two kinds. There'll be three kinds of people here in the group, or who are at this stage preparing for the CAT. The first kind of people who would be in that domain where portion is complete. Basic work is complete. Let's not call it portion, because portion is there only in quants. DI, LR, and verbal has no portion. So let's call it basic work is complete. Right? So if I define the three kinds of people who would be preparing for CAT 23 right now, we would have a basic work complete 100%. Of course, there's nothing called 100%, but yeah, you've actually gone through all the questions, and you've gone through all the question types, you've gone through all the chapters in maths. It's all happened, right? The second aspect is the second kind of student would be 50% plus completed. The third kind of student would be some people who are 20 to 50% complete. And the fourth kind of people will be below 20%. So all these people who are just starting off, and of course, people who started off maybe 10, 15, 20 days ago. So this would be the four situations of different CAD aspirants at this point. Now, there's a question from Manoj. He's not from Devansh. Marks and percentile for this moxie. Percentiles, etc., depend completely on your mock scores, right? So broadly, if you're in your mocks, if you're able to score a score of around 90 to 100, you are heading for a 99 percentile plus in the CAT. So that's the general formula that you adopt, right? Although last year it was at 85, 99 percentile was at 85, but you try to think of a 10 mark more than that in your mock. So 90 to 100 is the target score for 99 percentile. If you can score around 20% more than this range, if you can score 20% more than this range, you will end up getting a 99.5, 99.7. Yeah, so I'm going to give you the strategy for all four kinds of people, whichever you belong to, with respect to mocks as well as your preparation, right? So and if you can score 30% above the 99 percentile level, you cross 99.9 percentile. You cross 99.9, and you might be hitting close to 100, 99.96, 97, 100 be hit ho sakta hai, 30% more than this thing. And if you are around 10% below the 99 percentile, so the mocks ka CAT ka jo percentile aata hai, वो typically the thumb rule is where at what level is the 99 percentile, उसी पे depend करता है सब कुछ. So 99 percentile से above, 20% above, 30% above, 10% below, 20% below, and you can apply this on all your past year papers, and you can see that this will actually apply. 40% below, 30 to 40% below. This will be the 90 percentile value, and this will be the 97, 98 percentile range, and this will be the 20% below the this thing will be the 95 percentile score, approximately, plus minus a couple of percent here or there, but you don't try to fine tune too much. I always tell people that when you are looking at your mocks and you are trying to analyze what's happening in your mocks, focus on your score. Don't look at the percentile, because percentile, किसी भी test series का percentile का कोई value नहीं. Just focus on the score. If you get score well, I mean, it's sometimes I see a lot of people getting confused by the percentile they're scoring in the mocks, and the percentile has no value because it's a fraction of the people who are giving the exam. कोई भी exam ले लो, तो it's a fraction of the people who are taking that exam, right? So percentile has no value. I mean, I've seen people who are scoring 99 percentile in a mock test in which 10,000 people have given the exam, and going in the CAT and scoring 70. And I've also seen the opposite. So yeah, I'll definitely add the webinar to YouTube. I'll upload the webinar to YouTube also. So so the key factor, I mean, जो बोलते हैं ना ऊंट कहाँ बैठा, वो ऊंट कहाँ बैठा वाला logic जो है हिंदी वाला is where this number fits in. Once you can define this number for a test, if you look at my predictions of the last 2-3 years of the CAT, after the CAT paper, last year I had said I was perhaps the only person who was saying that 90 get slightly niche, 80-99 percentile jayega. So I typically try to predict this number, and all the other percentiles fall into place by this logic. So last year this was at 85, but एक thumb rule मान के चलो कि 90 to 100 के बीच में ये रहता है. So when you are trying to plan your mocks, you have to plan your score targets, and once you define your score target, okay, what score am I targeting? Am I targeting 90 to 100? Am I targeting 110 to 120? Am I targeting 130, 125 plus? What score am I targeting? Okay. So when you are looking at this number, you will first, once you decide these numbers, your focus then shifts into how you want to break this into the 3 sections. How you want to break this into quants, DILR, and verbal. Quants of video solutions by Tuesday or Wednesday it will be available, Ashita. Okay. So how do you want to break this score into this thing? And that has to be your strategy, or your strategy has to be towards this journey. Okay, I want to score 110 marks, and my strategy breakup, or my sectional breakup for 110 will be 35 in verbal, 30 in DILR, and 45 in quants. Or my strategy breakup will be 14 verbal, 35 in DILR, 35 in quant, whatever. You have to fit these 3 numbers, and then your sectional, your preparation for each of the sections has to start focusing on how you get there, right? And what will happen when you start taking your mocks, let's say, and then the strategy, the target you work is not on your mock score target. The target you have to work on a sectional target. Okay, so if I want to get, let's say, 45 marks in quants, or yeah, let's say if I say that my target, when I broke my total target into my verbal plus DI plus my quants was coming out to be 45 as a target, right? I'll come to the 4 kinds of students. Let me first finish this part, because it's very important for you to understand. So, and because I often see people getting confused by the percentile, and that's what I'm trying to say. Don't focus on a percentile, focus on your ability to score a certain number of marks, and that too not overall, but section-wise. So the challenge, once you pick up this challenge, once you define this challenge, I want this score, and 45 of that is coming from this section, then the challenge becomes the specific preparation for the section to get to that 45 marks, right? So, so what will happen now? The question is, what feedback do you derive from the mocks? So two feedbacks you need to derive from the mocks. Now, who will be able to score 45 marks in the QA section? For a person to be able to score 45 marks in the QA section, listen to this, very important. Without time limit, that person on the same sectional paper should be able to score 60 plus. If not 60, at least 55. If you can't score, I mean, ideally 60 plus, but at least 55 plus, you should be able to score without time limit. That means you give yourself 60 minutes, 65 minutes, you should be able to score 55 to 60 marks without the time limit, without the strict 40-minute time limit. If you can do that, then you have a chance to get here. So when you are looking at the mocks and you're doing the analysis of the mocks, you keep trying to measure not just how much you're scoring. That's just part of the problem. That does not give you the problem that you have. You have to look at how much you can score if there's no time limit, because that shows your ability level, right? So the various conversion aspects for different targets. I'm first talking about the quant section. As I said, for different targets for the quant section, a target of 45 inside the mock needs an ability score of 55, 60 at least, or more than that. A target, somebody who's targeting 35 to 40, if my target in the quant section is 35 to 40, then my ability score without time limit, if you give me a sectional test without time limit and give me that, okay, there's no timer, you take 40 minutes, you take 50 minutes, you take 60 minutes, the timer is not going to run out, you take your time. You should be able to score 50 plus if you want to get 35 to 40. Without time limit, you should be able to score 50 plus, right? The third kind of target you can have is for a 30 score. Your target, here should be 40, maybe 42 to 45. An ability score of 42 to 45 will convert to a net score of 30 in an actual mock. If you want to score a 20 to 25, then you have to be able to have an ability score of around 35 plus. So take your pick depending on what your target is. I mean, as I said, you can crack the CAT with 25 marks in quants also. It depends on what your design is. When you say that I want to score 100 marks or I want to score 110 marks, what is the design across the three sections? That's something that is an elementary aspect which starts off your preparation. So वहां से तुम्हारा quant score आता है और उसके बाद ये define होता है कि मेरे को ability score कितना पहुंचाना है, right? So I hope you understand this logically, that if I give you an untimed test and I tell you that, okay, take this test and you can score only 45, 40 to 45 without time limit, so you cannot score 45 marks with time limit. It's not possible. It is illogical to think ऐसा हो जाएगा, right? So this is something that you have to remember. So you have to keep a target of not just, I mean, from the target of your this thing, this comes ki kitna knowledge chahiye mere ko. So if I'm so this will convert then to number of questions. So if I'm trying to score 45 or more than 45 in the exam, out of 22 questions in the quant section, I should know 20 of them. Maybe some tests I can know 19 of them, but 19, 20 I have to know. Maybe 2 questions inside the exam I cannot know. Otherwise, I have to know every question, right? Whereas for this guy, he has to know 12 to 13 questions in every test out of 22. That means if there are 10 questions in the paper which you don't know, you can still hope to get 20 to 25 marks in the quant section. So that then brings down the strategy. Once you have this objective, what will happen is when you take feedback from a mock, when you look at the mock, once you look at your score, what was your score coming out to be in the 40 minutes, you first try to see what is your ability score, how many questions did you know in that mock, right? And then match, okay, do we still have a problem in ability? So there might be two things that might be happening, right? There might be two things that might be happening. You are scoring less than your target. Let's say this is your target in quants, and you're scoring that. So then maybe you can think about upgrading your target. If you're scoring, if let's say this was your target to start with, and you reach the score, let's say by August or September, right? So then you can take a call. Okay, if I'm reaching this target by August or September, I've got 2 months left. Let me upgrade the target, right? But so that's a good happy news to have, right? And then you upgrade the target, you first change this, and then you change this. It cannot change directly from year to year. But anyway, coming back, the normal situation that most of you will face, that you have a target set for yourself and you're scoring below that. This was a target ki quants mein 35-40 lana hai to get to that 110, but I'm scoring only 20-25. So because of that, what will happen is your score will fall short by 15 marks here. If you are meeting the required score in these two areas, you're falling short in your score by 15 marks because you're not getting your quant sectional score as desired or as planned. So then once you realize that, okay, this is what is happening, you first try to see, okay, now not why you're getting a lower score than what you are targeting. There could be two reasons for it. There could be two reasons for it. One is, I mean, see, again, let me clean this board up and come back to this. You are targeting 35-40 in the quant section, but you're only scoring 20-25. So why could this be happening? There could be two reasons. One, as I told you, for scoring 35-40, your ability score has to be 50 plus. That means in every test, you have to know 17 to 18 questions. Without time limit, you should be able to solve 17 to 18 questions, right? But if your ability score is below 50, then this is not going to happen. That's reason number one. So if you check your ability score and your ability score comes out to 13 questions, 14 questions, or 22, then obviously there's an ability gap. And if there's an ability gap, the next thing, obviously logical thing to do is to find out which chapter, which block, and go there and repair it. How do you repair it? We'll come to that. But the second reason why you might not be getting the score, this is the first reason why you might not be getting a score. The second reason why you might not be getting a score, you are targeting this, but you're getting this. The second reason, I mean, when you check your ability, your situation is you're targeting this, you're getting this. When you check your ability, you see that you're getting 17, 18 questions correct. You know 17, 18 questions, but you're still not able to score this. So then this is the performance issue. And the performance issue could be due to two reasons. One is you don't have the belief under time pressure. You don't have the belief under time pressure and under pressure of your expectations. So your belief is failing you. The second is your speed is failing you. You're too slow. These could be two reasons. So principally, this is reason number one. This is reason number two. Reason number two can have two variants to it. Your lack of belief, because of which you're not able to convert what you know in the exam, or lack of speed, because of which your time gets over and you're not able to convert. Right? Yeah, silly errors is part of performance issue only. Silly errors is part of performance issue only. It means that you know the questions, but you're not able to. You make silly errors because your mind is not in the right place when you are solving those questions. So that typically is generated out of the belief only. right? So if your issue is here, so then it's very easy to understand there's an ability gap. So you go and think about which chapter, which block. So the logic of sorting out the ability gap is very straight and simple. I'll talk about how to work on ability, and I'll take personal questions a little bit later. Let me just finish what I'm trying to say, because I also have to talk to you about verbal and DI, and it's a short 45-minute session, out of which we already spent 25 minutes together. So I want to cover all that I want to talk about, and then after that, last 10 minutes we'll take questions. If required, I'll extend the session by 10 minutes. So coming back, okay. So if it's an ability issue, you try to understand which chapter is causing it or which block is causing it, or you can further fine tune it to which concept inside a chapter is causing it. There are 3 levels of fine tuning. So what might be happening is that one chapter might be failing you, or a few chapters might be failing you, right? A few chapters might be failing you, or what might rise your ability below what you require. A few chapters might be failing you. जब भी time split distance question आता है, जब भी geometry question आता है, you're not able to solve it. You can't think through, and those are the questions that you're not able to solve. That's number one. If it's a block level issue, that means you are having a problem in arithmetic across, or if it's a concept inside a chapter, कि time split distance में circular motion में जब question आ जाता है तब मेरे को problem होता है, number systems में HCF पे question आ जाता है तब problem हो जाता है, उस तरह का concept inside a block issue है. So please understand that at this stage, ability issues will not get solved by studying theory. I hope you understand that 90% of your quants prep, 90% plus of your quants prep is problem solving, learn through problem solving experiences. So the simple formula, the simple logic and the simple formula of changing what's happening to you inside the mocks at the chapter level, it's 100 to 150 questions, good quality questions. You solve 100 to 150 questions on a chapter, and you should be sorting the chapter issue. At the block level, it's 250 questions. So let's say the algebra block is causing a problem for you. You pick up 250 questions on algebra, solve 25-30 questions every day. 7 to 8 days में तुम्हारा ability issue significantly change कर जाएगा, reduce कर जाएगा. If you're solving 30 questions a day. If there's a chapter issue, you pick up 30 questions a day, 4 days flat, the chapter issue can get sorted. But you have to be, this has to be targeted work. This cannot be generic work. I'm studying time split distance because I'm a good boy or a good girl and I'm a portion complete karna. This is the targeted work that you have to do, right? And this typically should happen in the context. It's like a hand and glove situation. The hand will only fit the glove, and the glove will fit the hand. The glove will expand for the hand will contract for the glove. It's like that. So what feedback you get from the test, you apply it into your preparation, and then you keep going back to the test and see whether it's changing or not, right? If it's a concept inside a chapter, if that is the level, if you can identify a few such cases, maybe if you have a deficiency of around 9-10 questions, maybe you can identify 4 or 5 chapters completely. You might identify a block. You might identify 5-6 concepts under chapters, like time split distance, circular motion questions, geometry, triangle questions, similarity questions, right? So these kind of things, if it's happening, then the formula is 25 to 50 questions on that concept. That's it. So this could be, if you can find the questions, it's 1 to 2 days. This issue will get sorted in 1 to 2 days completely, right? So this is the solution in case it's the ability problem. Belief problem agar hai, if it's a belief problem or a speed problem, then so these solutions are new questions. These solutions are built on new questions. right? An ability problem will also be visible if you see a lot of questions inside the exam which you have not seen or not thought of. So which chapter is it happening that you've never seen this kind of question? Which concept inside the chapter is it happening? Is it happening across a complete block that you're coming across questions which you have never seen? So if that's happening, then new question is the solution. And it basically means that your exposure to questions is slightly below what you need it to be, right? I mean, see, this is an exam where one side does not fit all. So one size does not fit all. For one person, 250 questions in algebra will be enough to complete his algebra. For another one, he might require 600 questions. So that's why if you hear somewhere कि algebra में 300 questions solve करना है और तुम करते हो 300 और तुमको 600 की जरूरत है तो deficiency रहेगा because your learning your starting point was weaker and maybe your learning processes are weaker because of that, right? If the issue on the other hand is of belief or speed, then the solution to that is redo what you have done. And the solution to silly questions, silly marks, silly options, silly mistakes is also to redo questions so that the solutions keep getting embedded deeper into your head, right? You make silly errors when you have to use your entire mind and your entire mind is not available to you. But for something that you have created a mental structure completely and it's embedded deep into you, you'll not make silly errors in those. So redo whatever you've done. If you see these indications, one indication key your ability score is what you need it to be. Second indication that for those, I mean, suppose your ability score needs to be 50 plus. Second indication for 17, 18 questions in the exam, you're finding questions which you have seen. Every test that you take, 17, 18 questions, you find questions that you have seen. In that case, your exposure is fine for the level you are targeting, right? Of course, you can raise your level further. You might say that I want to take my ability to 21, 22, but I mean, it has to be in order. If you know 17, 18 questions and you're not able to extract 13, 14, the marks of 13, 14 questions in the exam, then first focus, if this is not happening, then first focus is to make sure that this starts happening before you start adding knowledge. Because 18 questions जानते हो तो 14 questions होना चाहिए तुमसे, right? So और तुमसे अगर सिर्फ 11-12 हो रहे हैं एग्जाम में या 10 हो रहे हैं एग्जाम में और तुमको 18 आता है तो पहला सॉल्यूशन तुम करोगे कि 14 तक पहुंच जाओ ना, जो आता है उसमें से मैं I should get marks for what I know before I start saying okay I'll start increasing my knowledge and ability. So if this is the case that your problem solving under pressure is deficient, then my recommendation is redo the questions, look at the CAT questions, right? Just it's not about new questions. It's more about reading the questions, finding when you redo questions, two things happen. The processes that got you to the answer, they get reignited, they get resolved in your head. You create a deeper understanding of those processes. You get more control of your problem solving situations. You get deeper embedding of those processes. Second thing that happens is you build speed in solving those kind of questions, because you build speed in solving those kind of questions because you start realizing how to do things faster. You find better methods, you have better reactions to reading the question and reacting. You don't need a second reading. All these things start happening. So this is the recommendation for you in case it's the second problem. So of course, in terms of the time schedule for the tests, for people who are in this range of portion completion, I would suggest maybe one test in July, 4 tests in August, 10 tests in September, 12 to 14 tests in October, and maybe 7-8 tests the remaining 7-8 tests in the start of November. Right? For these people, I would recommend a more even reaction, 8, 10, 10. Yeah, maybe an 8, 8, 10, 10, 4 kind of a thing. And you should get sorted by the time you have 40 tests. Maybe you can increase the number of tests beyond 40 also. It will not hurt you. And for these people, I mean, for other people, this will be somewhere between. So maybe for people in this range, maybe it can be something like 3, 7, 10, 12. That makes it how much? 10, 20, 32, 8. Right? And for these people, it can be again something like 2, 8, or 2, 2, 6, 10, 12, and 10. So November, please remember you've got only somewhere till 15th or 20th November to prepare. Don't put it into the last week. So this can be your this thing. And when I say 40 mock tests, somebody is asking, I think your sectional test should be apart from this. So 40 mocks and plus 10 sectionals. 40 mocks plus 10 sectionals. Sectionals would mean full sectional test of 40 minutes on all the chapters, 10 of verbal, 10 of DI, and 10 of quants. So this is the basic aspect of what you need to do. Similar thing in data interpretation, logical reasoning. You should have a fair idea of again, one of the key points in data interpretation and logical reasoning preparation wise is that you should stop seeing new situations. If you're seeing a lot of new situations in your mocks or in past CAT papers, it basically means that your question exposure is less. And DILR, there's no portion, of course. Okay, and one important thing that I also wanted to talk to you about is the fact that you have to use sectional tests as a very important building block to your full length tests. So those of you who are in this zone and want to complete portion, let's say you want to complete portion in quants, don't delay your sectional tests of verbal or DILR. You do a lot of sectional tests on verbal and DILR so that your practice and your testing go hand in hand in those sections. अगर quants का portion के कारण तुम test को delay कर रहे हो, तो ठीक है, that's okay. But don't delay the verbal and DI testing that you should be doing. Start that from July, August only. From July only. Why do you want to wait? So in DLR, what is your this thing? So I mean, one of the things that people always ask me about DLR, I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. So ADG says, I've completed round 3 exactly like you have advised, and it has really helped me a lot from your books. But how do I now practice weak chapters from where? You can go into the CAT papers, and you can go to the to previous year chapter wise CAT papers book है मेरी, उसमें भी जा सकते हो, and then you can go to mock test questions. Right? I told you that the mocks give you a lot of practice. Apart from giving you feedback about your performance, it also gives you a lot of practice. So you have to add the practice element inside the mocks. Okay, so before I come to the verbal part, I have a couple of promotional messages which I'm supposed to talk to you guys about. Otherwise, my team will kind of okay, this is the mock, not this. So we have a new batch starting from 20th July. So those of you who want to take some help from us can definitely try to join us for that. And of course, you get my entire content and my mentoring if you are looking at joining the course. So this is the online course, and even from now we'll be completing the portion completely live also. And of course we have multiple options of covering portion in our course. I mean, mera pura content available in a recorded format also, so you can actually use that also. And we also have the mock test series, the Arun Sharma CAT challenge, which has in which we give you 25 full-length CATs, full-length mocks, 30 sectional tests, 10 on each section, 15 replicats, where what we do is the CAT 17 to 22 papers. During the mock test series of 25 mock tests, we keep inserting the CAT 17 to 22 papers as replicats inside. So at every point of time you come to know कि अभी मेरा preparation actual CAT paper के context में कितना है, right? And we also have that and MAT IFT test mocks included, and there's a special offer. This offer is only valid for today for the mock test series. You can go to mindworks.in/ASCC. You can go to this website and enroll for it. And there's a bonus for today. My geometry mastery course worth $17.99 is free of cost if you join today. So that'll be, you'll get access to all the videos of the geometry mastery program that I've recorded. Right. So coming back to the discussion we are having, data interpretation, logical reasoning mein. Now, before I go into DILR, let me just also talk about this. The concern that people who belong to this bracket have is ki, how do I take care of both things? The answer is you don't need to worry too much. Apna kaam karna shuru karo, consistently karo. And you can, I mean, as you start taking your mocks, you can, as you get feedback, you can keep your chapters. I mean, aisa koi zaruri nahi ki you do the chapters only in the order in which they are mentioned. You can actually do the chapters according to what the mocks are telling you in that order also. So if you belong to these two categories and your portion coverage is your concern, your portion coverage se CAT clear hone nahi wala hai. You're not going, if you think that you will cover portion and clear the CAT, is not going to happen. Please remember, your CAT clearing is only going to happen out of the work you do inside the mocks and the fine tuning you do, the hand and glove work you do with the mocks. That's what's going to help you clear the CAT. So if you are amongst those people who are avoiding taking tests because of the fact that that you feel that you are behind and there's so much work to be done, etc. As I said, start the sectional test on section which you think you're ready. Ek section ko tum delay karna chahte ho, it's fine, but take the section. I mean, your verbal and quants, of course, verbal and DILR is not portion dependent, so you can start learning on the go and be a little bit brave to listen to get the bad feedback you'll get in the test. Obviously, पढ़ाई नहीं की हो तो test का result खराब ही आएगा. You're just starting off, test score will be poor, right? So coming back, so what you can do is you can straight away enter the mock plus preparation phase. And if you see, when I talked about 1 test in this month and 3 tests in the next month, even that track for people of this category that I gave, so that track will also mean a test every 10 days. So you take a test, find out, take the feedback from the test, prioritize the chapters which are creating a problem, prioritize the areas which are creating a problem, go and solve that issue, come back to the next test. So you have deadlines, and rather than preparing in a vacuum, you're preparing in a very time-bound manner, and you're going to prepare with a clear focus at every point of time in your preparation, right? So having said that, the other factor, yeah, video solutions are included in the mock test series. Most mocks will have video solutions. जो का नहीं है उसको हम लोग बनवा रहे हैं, so it'll all be there. So coming back to DI and LR, a lot of people keep asking me, how do we select the easy sets? और CAT में होता क्या है कि you might have a mix of 1 easy set and 2 very tough sets and 1 tough set, something like this. ठीक है? So DILR mein, the first thing you have to understand is no portion. If you're portion dependent DILR, it means you have missed the bus. You've never understood what DILR preparation is all about, right? Portion dependent preparation does not work in DILR. In fact, the way DI starts, when you prepare in DI, the way it starts is you first cover the data representations, pie chart, bar charts, line graph, etc. You first spend maybe the first 30 days, 3 to 4 weeks on individual data representations. Then you moved into mixed solving. You'd move into mixed solving of traditional DI, where एक pie chart के साथ एक bar chart होगा, फिर अगला एक table होगा. So you move to mixed solving of traditional DI, and all the time, I told you in quants, 90% of your journey is problem solving experiences. In DI and LR, 100% of your learning is problem solving experiences. So you go to mixed and traditional DI and you solve around 100 to 150 sets from here, and you solve this both. I mean, this should be a self problem solving experience on mixed and traditional DI, and on data representation, on each of the representation maybe 10 sets each. So maybe perhaps you'll see around 100 sets here. So when you have an experience of around 200 to 50 sets, then you move to logical DI. And मेरे book में तीनों अलग-अलग हैं. And old editions typically don't work because if you go behind by 2 editions from my current books, you are basically looking at the book that was written after CAT 18. So it will not have the content and the changes and the and you know CAT keeps changing its colors a little bit here from time to time. So it will not be it still be okay to start the practice, but it will not be absolutely fine tuned to the latest CAT papers. So you get to logical DI and you try to do around 200 sets. In reasoning, the preparation structure is that you first do the question types, CAT question types. That means puzzles, arrangements, team selections, etc. Venn diagrams, games and tournaments. You first cover the CAT question types. During the question types which come in the CAT exam, which is the first part of my book. So यहाँ पे you get an exposure to around 100 to 150 sets, and then you go into mixed reasoning. So the next 200 sets, 100 to 150, 200 sets on reasoning are all mixed, where you don't know which chapter it's coming from. You have to react to what's written in front of you and solve the question. So what happens when you go into the actual CAT exam? Many times you're solving a set and you will not be able to make out कि DI से set है कि LR से set है. So the two subjects merge at the top, right? Because logical DI or traditional reasoning with quantitative elements is completely very similar to each other. So many times you'll see you're solving a set in the exam, and when you come out, if I ask you was it a DI set or an LR set, you will say I don't know. So that's one of the reasons why the mixed this thing. So you can spend 3 to 4 weeks on data representation based preparation maximum. And I hope these people have actually crossed those points. And in when you talk about selection, if you are a person who's going to depend a lot on selection because your ability is that you can solve 3 sets, but you can't solve 1 set in every exam. If you belong to this category, then you are putting yourself up to be massacred in the exam. Because when you pick up a set, it's only after 5 to 6 minutes, 7 minutes do you come to know how tough the set is. So my advice to you is to get to the point where no matter how tough the set is, I can solve it. You have to get there in your journey, right? So maybe you can actually become a 20-minute solver कि 20 मिनट में तो निकल जाएगा कोई भी सेट दे दो. उसके बाद फिर efficiencies बढ़ाओ to become a 15-minute solver. उसके बाद efficiency बढ़ाओ to become a 12-minute solver. उसके बाद efficiency बढ़ाओ to become a 8-10-minute solver. At this point, you're competing against the 100 percentiles. You give the 100 percentile as all the 4 sets, they'll be able to solve them in 8 to 10 minutes. Right? And one of the problems why people find DILR very tough these days is because of the fact that people assume that data interpretation or logical reasoning में chapters है या फिर subject. I told you, you don't even come to know in the exam. You don't come to know. It's not clear to you whether you're using. So there's this quite. You will see questions in the exam जहाँ पे कुछ skill यहाँ से आएंगे, कुछ skill वहाँ से आएंगे solve करने के. So some of the skills will come from your DI work. Some of the skills will come from the LR work. So ये question के लिए तुमको, unless you reach that point where you can solve these mixed kind of sets, and the two subjects have merged for you, you are not going to be able to solve questions. So till you belong to the category of students just say दो set होता है, दो नहीं होता है, तीन set होता है, दो नहीं होता है. You are always, you're putting yourself up for luck. How do you ensure that this is not the set you pick up in the exam? There's no way. There's no way. I'll tell you my own experience. My DLR has been my strongest area over my last 22 attempts at CAT. Ever since I gave CAT for the first time in CAT 92, my DLR has been my strongest area. Right? It's one area which I love teaching also. CAT 17 का बात करता रहा हूँ मैं. CAT 17 में मेरे slot में 8 sets है or 4 questions each. I solved 7 sets, out of which I got through 5.5 or 6 sets, and एक set मैंने नहीं देखा था. So when I came out, one set I had not seen this. This set was the burger pizza set. So when I came out, my students met me outside the exam hall, said, "Sir, वो burger pizza वाला set कितना आसान था." So now you can imagine, I'm out of 8 sets, I see 7 sets, and I don't see the easiest one. I got a score, I think, was 100 marks of paper, 96 marks of paper hota tha. I got a 62. The 100 percentile was at around 74. So I lost by 12 marks because I didn't see this set. This set में देख लिया होता तो 5 मिनट में मेरा हो जाता वो set. So there's no way to guarantee that you will pick up the easier sets. Okay, you can build your ability to understand how much control you have during the first reading, and if you're losing control of the set, then you quit the set, etc. But the safest way to get to secure situation in DILR, the safest way to get to security in data interpretation and logical reasoning is to reach this point. जब तक ये point पे नहीं पहुंचोगे,
I didn't get that.
My Siri is saying something. So till you don't get to this point, you have to do more work, either of assisted problem solving or self problem solving. You have to keep going back to the drawing board, adding more questions, more sets, right? And then so you reach a point where out of 40 sets, when you solve one set you can't do, then you'll have to be very unlucky to have a situation where that one set comes in the exam. तो ऐसा होगा तो तुम्हारे पीछे भगवान पड़ गया तो तुम क्या कर सकते हो? But you have to reach that point. But every 4th set में एक नहीं हो रहा है, that means you're not able to do 25% of the questions. Not done. It's not something that will give you comfort in the section. So you'll have to reach that point. कितना assisted problem solving चाहिए, कितना self problem solving चाहिए तुमको, depend करेगा तुम्हारे starting point पे, तुम्हारे ability to learn पे, तुम्हारा self balance पे, your ability to be independent in your learning, how quickly do you need it. हम लोग अपने कोर्स में करीब 200-300 सेट का assisted problem solving देते हैं. In fact, more than that. If you actually count all the sets we have solved with my course and 7-8 teachers who teach, so we give you more than that. तो इतने में normally हो जाना चाहिए. उसके बाद भी किसी का नहीं होता है because जब तक तुम खुद का काम नहीं करोगे तब तक सिर्फ वीडियो सॉल्यूशंस देख के नहीं होने वाला है. वीडियो सॉल्यूशंस या लाइव क्लास करके नहीं होने वाला. So this is what you need to this thing, and pedagogy in data interpretation and logical reasoning is only assisted problem. If I'm taking a DI class, I can only bring a question and solve it for you. There's very little theoretical constructs or structures. DI takes some theory from maths, which only way you start studying quants. LR में तो कोई theory नहीं है. It is just on the surface you start solving puzzles. का क्या theory होता है? कोई theory नहीं होता है. It's about skills of how do you organize the data, how do you keep your clues? How do you keep your specifically, how do you store your indirect clues? That's what it is. So this is your DILR preparation. Verbal mein, my favorite logic for verbal, I mean, you first have to find your accuracy rate in each of the areas. So RC and the 3-4 question types of verbal that are there, parajumbles, odd man out, and last year wala para completion, etc. So you have to find the accuracy rate in each of the question types. What is your accuracy rate, right? And that too, again, without time limits. So if you're solving an RC passage, or if you're solving 10 RC passages of 4 questions each, you solve 40 questions. And you take 25, 20, 30 minutes per passage. You give yourself unlimited time, because in the exam, you will be expected to solve a passage in 10 minutes. The toppers, for example, if I'm say solving the paper, I solve an RC set in 7-8 minutes, an RC passage in 7-8 minutes. So if there are 4 RCs, I'll finish them in 28 to 30 minutes. So let's say you give yourself 20 to 30 minutes each RC, 10 RCs. So you take 300 minutes on it, 5 hours, and you do these 40 questions. The accuracy rate you have will limit, that will be the upper limit of the accuracy rate you can have if you're solving this 10 RCs in the time period of in 100 minutes. If I tell you to solve 10 similar RCs in 100 minutes, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि यहाँ पे तुम्हारे 30 questions right आए और यहाँ पे 35 right आ गए. I hope you understand that. It can't happen, right? So your key point, unless if you reach a point where, let's say in reading comprehension, when you solve 12 questions, 3 passages, you get 6 right, 6 wrong. You first try to check कि if I give myself unlimited time, तो ये 12 में मेरा outcome क्या है? Is it 8-4? If it is 8-4 with unlimited time, I cannot hope to get better than 6-6. So what I'm trying to repair is not this. I will try to repair this. कि पहले मेरे को वो समझ में तो आए कि क्या देखना होता है. What do I look inside an RC question in the options? How do I eliminate these 4 errors that I'm doing? Is it a problem of comprehension, or is it a problem of comprehension of the passage, or is it a problem of understanding the question, or is it a problem of understanding the options? Is it a problem of reading, not being focused while reading? What is the issue, right? So unless I get to, if I want to improve this, I solve 3 RCs, I get 6 right, 6 wrong. I get 4 right, 8 wrong. I first have to improve this. So unless this becomes 10, 11, and 1 wrong or 2 wrong, unless I reach this point, I'm not going to reach the 8, 9 or 12, 8, 9 correct, right? And you know the toppers have this ability. If you solve, I don't know whether you guys saw my video, which was released last week on my YouTube channel, where it was extracted from my ZAT paper discussion. I've done the ZAT discussion on 5th January, and people were asking me for the answer keys. So I said, "ठीक है, चलो इसको solve करते हैं." So during that day, it was a 2.5 hour session that I took, where I was explaining each question and coming to the answer. So I solved 21 questions, 22 questions I solved live on YouTube without the answer keys, because the answer keys were released on 11th or 12th Jan. So this solving I did without the answer keys. Out of 22 questions, I specifically mentioned that I'm unsure on 1 question, and I gave 21 answers on those 22 questions. और ZAT में 25 questions थे total verbal के. So out of those 21 answers, I got 20 correct, and I made 1 error. And people had asked me for the answers for the remaining 3. So बाकी 3 के answers मैंने chat में डाल दिए थे उस video में before the answer key came out, and these 3 were correct. So the ability I had was to be able to solve 23 questions correct out of 25. So when I say my ability, this is not about me boasting about what I can do. This is about what the toppers can do. You have to understand that toppers have this ability. So unless you build this ability to be able to see the right answer, and I personally believe RC is easier to do that than in verbal, because verbal may the difficulty level varies a lot. There'll be some very easy questions, there'll be some very tough questions, which is very difficult to get tough even for the best people. For example, if I solve four parajumbles in the CAT, I'm not sure of all four. I might get, on a good day I'll get 3 right. On a normal day I'll get 2 right, I'll get 2 wrong. But my RCs are like, that takes me through. If I've got 16 RC questions, my first reaction is ki pola 16 karte hain. So I will be expecting 42 to 45 marks out of this. And whatever I score out of the verbal, because if I solve 16 RC questions in 30 minutes, my 10 minutes for verbal, whatever I solve, 2-3 questions be right, okay, that's bonus. So I end up getting a 50 plus in comprehension, in VRC. But you have to build that ability, how to see the right answer. And why I'm telling you this is because verbal, maybe there's a way to get to the right answer. Right? Are you using all the techniques to get to the right answer? For example, a simple checkpoint hota hai of getting questions right in verbal is one simple checkpoint is there are 2 ways to get to an answer. One is if there are 4 options in a question. One is a positive identification that this is the right answer. That means you realize that the logic of this answer is strong. Hence, I'm marking this. But in verbal, 2 plus 2 is not always 4. So you also have to do a negative identification of the other options. So when you finish this off, then you are more sure of the answer. And sometimes in verbal, you also reach this point that there are 2 options that look positive to you. And you're able to eliminate 2 options because of the negative identification of them being the wrong answer. So when you have this situation, then you need to bring in your game, your A game, your logical game, to try to seek which is a larger plus, and then mark that answer. So these are things that you will need to build. Okay. So I hope this has been useful for all of you, and I'll take questions for a couple of minutes. नहीं, logical DI करना पड़ेगा, ADG. You can't this thing. VA strategy has to be. My YouTube channel is Arun Sharma. You can just look for it. If you are finding a difficulty in aligning with the author's main idea, then try to do a little bit of main idea searching and paramapping. Try to get the idea. The idea is always a visual structure. So try to make the visual structure of this. 1-2 editions, पहले की books नहीं चलेगी. I think 1 edition old is still okay, but 2 editions old is not okay. Number of study hours cannot be defined, Tanuj. It depends on the work you have to do. So focus not on the study hours. Focus on the on the amount of work you need to do. ASCC, I can't see. Or we release a mock every week, and there's a release schedule. So you right now, I think we have released 6 tests and some sectional tests. Okay. If you are in a working professional, the focus has to be on being more efficient with your studies. Okay. The quants preparation strategy for quants will do that. Beyond passage, do they help? Yeah, they help, but only thing is, when you are talking about CAT comprehension will be 800 words long. So Eon mein you'll find 3,000 word articles. So focus on 800 words only. ठीक है. Mock difficulty देखो थोड़ा सा, I think it would be on an easier side. What did you guys feel? The DILR was definitely easy, on the easier side, but I think quants or verbal will be similar to CAT. ठीक है. VA का recommendation is again question types को analyze करो and first try to understand the process to get the right answer. Yeah, logical DI is included in my DILR course. Yeah, of course, passage has to be understood clearly. Yeah, I have answered your question, Ritik. If you're getting low scores in the mocks, you try to understand it from the point of view what I've talked about. I'll upload this on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Okay, CAT level LRDI you can do from my books. They have the 8th edition of DI and the 7th edition of LR. उसमें मिल जाएगा. Said, what's your question? 66 score, Shruti, at this stage is a good score. Uh, it's it's uh, uh, it's a good score. You try to identify what you need to do so that your score improves. At this stage, it's a good score. Okay, improving speed in RC means reading only once. You need to focus on improving. ADG got 88. That's also a good score, very good score at this point, right? Improvement ka, I mean, overall, one line में तो बता नहीं सकता. I've given you the logic inside the session, so please have a look at that. Parajumble wrong. I told you, even if I solve 4 parajumbles after they've made it theta based, it's become very difficult to get parajumble right. वो छोटे वाले जो होते हैं वो तो हो जाते हैं, but वो लंबे वाले twisted वाले जिसमें language got stuff, it's very difficult to get them right. Even the toppers are not able to get right. Yeah, I mean, Puneet, try to take the tests as quickly as possible. Test के context में prepare करो. ठीक है? चलो ठीक है. तो आई हैव ट्राइड टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. 60 to 70 मार्क्स में है तो क्या करना है, सेक्शन वाइज ले जाओ उसको, उसके बाद सेक्शन में एनालाइज करो. आरसी में पैसेज अगर तुम्हारा नहीं हो रहा है तो I mean you're not getting accuracy and comprehension, improve your comprehension ability, improve your option selection, etc. Novel reading is not important because it will take you a lot of time. It's more important to read 800,000 word articles. Novel reading might be important more for your biodata part. Language sorting के लिए 1000 words का limit है. You sort your ability to understand 1000 words. Chalo, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this session, gave you a lot of ideas, and it's been over an hour plus. And I hope this has been helpful, and you can use the ideas I gave here. I hope you can use the ideas I gave here and utilize them in your strategy. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.